On Sunday, we had the Singapore Grand Prix. It was a wet night race, kind of a bizarre, boring race where the rain had stopped, but it was a night race, so there was no sun to dry the track out. Plus, it was super humid. Ended up actually running into a 2-hour time limit. Didn't even finish all the laps required. No one knew what tires to put on. In the first 30 laps, 5 drivers retired. Both Williams, both Alpines, Zhou Guan Yu. Someone else didn't retire. There were only 14 cars finished the race. The safety car was on and off all race long. People kept saying that, Max Verstappen could clinch the Formula One world title in this race. And it's been kind of annoying because, technically, it's mathematically possible that Max Verstappen could win the world title in Singapore. But, realistically, it's going to be 2 or 3 more races. I mean, it takes the right conditions where you're thinking, if that guy gets 0 points and this other guy, Max finishes way ahead of him, and this guy crashes, if all the stuff goes right, maybe Max can win. And it's like, what do you expect, the whole grid to not get any points other than Max? I mean, I'm tired, and I just was like, I'm really, really sick of this narrative that maybe this is the day Max wins. It's not going to be. It's going to be 3 more weeks. Also, Max started the race in P8 after a mistake of Red Bull underfueled his car during qualifying. So he had even less of a chance. And Max spent a lot of the race stuck behind Fernando Alonso and then later stuck behind Lando Norris. So later, when there was a race restart after a safety car, frustration was building and he popped. He tried to make a big move and it cost him. Max is a emotional, impatient driver. He always has been. And when the frustration built and he popped, he locked up and he ran wide and went from P5 all the way back to P14. Lost all the progress he had gained. I mean, it was a weird adventure for Max because he started the day P8, got all the way worked up to P5, was in a pretty decent position, then lost a bunch of ground, went back to P14, finished the race in P7. Kind of a mess, like a weird, messy race for him. The race ended like this. Sergio Perez won. Charles Leclerc got second. Carlos Sainz got third. Lando Norris got fourth. The other McLaren, Daniel Ricciardo, got fifth. Great day for McLaren, by the way. Lance Stroll got sixth. Probably one of the highest points finishes ever for Lance Stroll. Max Verstappen got seventh. Sebastian Vettel got eighth. Lewis Hamilton got ninth. Pierre Gasly got 10th. Bad day all around for Mercedes. Lewis went into the barrier once, lost a bunch of ground. George Russell finished in last. George spent a lot of the race at the back of the pack where, he tried to make a move. He put on slick tires before everyone, trying to get an advantage, rolling a dice, trying to hopefully take a risk and get ahead. And it really failed. And maybe even here's how kind of boring this race was. The most entertaining part of this race for me personally was when on lap 22, George Russell put on medium slick tires. And when Red Bull team principal Christian Horner told Max Verstappen, Max goes, "Oh, well, that's brave." I was like, that's a good line. That's funny. It was not a great race at all. I mean, it was good for Sergio Perez. It was good for Ferrari, good for McLaren. The rivals of them, Ferrari's rival, Mercedes, struggled their battle for second. McLaren's rival, Alpine, struggled in their battle for fourth. McLaren gained 22 points on Alpine. Ferrari got 33 points. Mercedes only got 2 with Lewis Hamilton. So here are the team standings after Singapore. Red Bull's in first place right now with 576 points. Ferrari's in second with 439. Mercedes is in third with 373. And fourth now is McLaren with 129 points. And in fifth right now is Alpine with 125 points. That battle for fourth and second is really interesting. But right now, Ferrari's got a commanding lead over Mercedes, and McLaren is now retaking the lead from Alpine. Alpine, that battle for fourth, maybe the most interesting battle right now in Formula One, along with the battle for second. In the driver's standings, that's what I mean. In the driver's standings, the battle for second, Max Verstappen in the driver's standings leads with 341 points. He's way ahead. He's over 100 points ahead of Charles Leclerc, who's in second with 237 points. Right behind Charles Leclerc is Sergio Perez in third with 235 points. And fourth, Still, even after no points in Singapore, George Russell is in fourth with 203 points. In fifth is Carlos Sainz, 202 points. And in sixth is Lewis Hamilton with 170 points in Formula One. The next race is on Sunday, October 9th in Japan. Going to be fun, man. Japan is a really cool country, and I bet the shots are going to be beautiful and gorgeous. So anyway, I'm interested. I'm excited. I wouldn't mind. I think of the movie Rush with Niki Lauda and James Hunt. The scene at Mount Fuji in Japan with the rain. Like, maybe we'll get another rainy race like that, kind of an epic moment. But I don't know. Right now, not a lot to be interested in Formula One, to be totally honest. Max is way ahead. Red Bull's way ahead. They got the world title on lock, it appears. Alpine versus McLaren is interesting. Leclerc versus Sergio Perez is interesting, but not a lot going on that's incredibly compelling in Formula One. This last race in Singapore was just kind of an abhorrent mess, totally. Just not interesting much at all, and in fact, disappointing.